Are you a business owner stuck in fear, doubt, and worry about what the marketplace will look like in the future? Then this show is for you. Strap on your seatbelt and get ready to disrupt and innovate. Here's your host, Lisa Levy.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest joining us on Disrupt and Innovate, Kelvin Holliday. He's an internationally recognized best-selling author and the #1 authority in transformational leadership. With his expertise in creating time and freedom, delivering productivity tech systems, and building remote teams, Kel has helped countless business owners and entrepreneurs escape the never-ending cycle of work to find true fulfillment. As the founder and CEO of the Transformational Group of Companies, Kel has been instrumental in sharing his thinking and technology selection to develop others, while building strong remote teams through his internationally recognized transformational leadership systems. His success has not gone unnoticed, as he's been featured and recognized by reputable networks such as Fox, ABC, NBC, and CBS. He's also a 3-time #1 best-selling author. Kel's passion and motivation lie in transforming leadership and teams, and he wants nothing more than to share his experience and systems with all of you. His mission is to connect individuals to his trusted network, creating a community where everyone can achieve their dreams of time and freedom. If you're looking to escape the grind and make a lasting impact in your business and life, then you need to hear what Kel and I are going to talk about today. It's with my great pleasure to invite you to the show today, Kel. Thank you for joining us.
Lisa, it is an absolute pleasure.
I did the big read over to let everybody know how incredibly amazing you are, but it really resonates for the audience if you tell us your story. How did you get to where you are today?
Well, it has been a journey, and I think, like any of us, if we've been on a journey that's been smooth sailing all the way, I don't think we've learned enough. And there's been a bit of a journey. The first book that I wrote, I actually said as, lessons of the school of hard knocks. And so often the journey, unless you've had those hard knocks, you haven't learned the real lessons you need. And so, look, I started off as a humble carpenter, very, very simple, 16 years of age, didn't want to continue on at school. By 21, finished my carpentry apprenticeship and started a building business. Turned into a $45 million building business by the age of 24. So I was always in that place of trying to do something exceptional. And it wasn't about, big noting or doing anything like that. It was really about, how do I make the most? What skills have I been given? How can I empower people? And I've carried that through. So multiple different career pathways. I've spent 12 years in the not-for-profit sector, working in the church environment, working in welfare, helping people in that sort of environment, getting back into the workforce. I owned a private college here in Australia. I'm actually in Thailand now, living the freedom dream. But being an Australian, I owned a college, government-registered college in Australia, and helping train people to get back into the workforce after work-related injuries, or if they had particular disabilities, etc. So my passion has always been about education and empowerment. I think that's really what sums it up. And so doing that, and I've always been an absolute tech nerd, so from the day the first PC come out and Microsoft was launched, I have had a computer in my hand. Every device you could probably think of demand, I've had in my hand and played with. And so that's been more of an interest, a hobby, turned into now what is put it together in that leadership field. And it's now it's quite something that's really the disruption that's around at the moment within technology and human resources is massive. So it's been a journey and a half, that's for sure.
It has been a journey and more, because you've had multiple different business frameworks that you've worked within, from construction to not-for-profit to overarching this leadership approach and the desire to transform how we lead. I know that in my world, being disruptive means challenging the status quo to make a positive impact. And you, being who you are, fit that mold so perfectly. And that's why we're talking today. But as you're building and doing the work that you're doing today, how are you leveraging the idea of being disruptive to be innovative, to give leaders the path to the freedom, that time freedom that we all want so desperately?
Yeah, I think COVID, we cannot avoid the COVID conversation. That created the biggest disruption in our world. Absolutely, no doubt, particularly in the area of technology and in the area of human resource. So we had people, we're in our offices, we had certain technologies, and all of a sudden we had to go remote. And so it flipped everything on the head, even like thing like Zoom, which we had Skype and different things around, but technology had a massive advancement. Now, that was a disruption, but I don't think it's the real disruption that I'm actually now seeing and being involved in right now. The real disruption is how do we stop using all the technology and get back to human connection? We've gone so far down the pathway of, what's the next app? All right. 4 million applications on the planet at the moment, developing at about 100,000 new applications a month. There's no way we can keep up with them all. And so things like Facebook, and we're getting our Google ads and our Facebook ads in our face going, here's the next best answer. And it's not. That's just not. And that's my message to the world. I'm saying stop adopting new technology. Just stop for a moment and think, what is it you actually need? And put a bit of a plan together. I started talking about, putting a tech stack and a tech plan together 5 or 6 years ago. And now people are just starting to talk about it, because they now got so much they just don't know what to do.
In our work, there's definitely points of overlap in the things that we do. And from my perspective, I have been working with my clients for years on the idea that a successful business is founded around an equation: people plus process times technology equals growth and scale. And it has to happen in that order.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, with all of the new apps coming to market, right? Thousands of them daily. The question is, what problem am I actually solving with them? Because we get starry-eyed with the best, the latest, the greatest, the coolest, the new widget, the unicorn, the whatever. But what does it actually do that drives value to my business, and more importantly, to my customer? And I think we've lost that. You're right, in the last few years, where we're just adopting because we're just trying to keep going. So how are you positioning that conversation in the community to get back to connection?
Okay. So two really important parts that people have got to get. It's a mindset thing. So what's happened is going back a number of years ago, just general in business, it was the big thing is you've got to be niche. You've got to be really super focused on your niche. And the mindset is to get, with that niche idea, everybody was out getting their application that was niche. And so a lot of applications come out and they'll do one or two things. And so what happened is people end up with a tech stack of 30, 40, 50, 60 apps, all doing one thing. And that now, with the advancement of AI and different things, you just don't need 40 or 50 apps anymore. 3 or 4 will do the same job better, smarter, faster, and more productive with less stress. So there's a mindset. There's a mindset of stop thinking niche, stop thinking I'm using this particular application and I don't want to move because I spent too much time learning this. Well, the new applications are so much easier to use. It's probably, it's a mindset of being stuck, all right, and feeling like you're losing money. So that's a big one for me. And then the second part is the human part, obviously. People are always looking at, how can we eliminate the human factor? And AI is the biggest one that's out there doing it. People saying, you don't need a copywriter, you don't need this, you don't need that. You can record yourself once and you can make a video of yourself. And, I'm going, really, folks, it doesn't matter how good AI gets, it is still AI. And it doesn't come from the heart. And I just see that the danger that we're going down the pathway of right now. I'm not against AI, not against technology. I love it. All right. So let me just say that I love it, but it's a tool. It's not a means to an end. It's a tool to leverage, not a tool to eliminate human contact and the human heart.
I wholeheartedly agree. Technology at the by definition, enables us to do something. And
Yes.
AI enables us to prioritize our time differently. It may enable us to automate some tasks, right? Some of it may be writing, some of it may be creative. And let's be really honest, when we're looking down the road, some of it may be things like performing surgery, because when the robot can, right, that AI can actually do some of those things, it's not constrained by human fallacy and the fact that we get tired, right? It can do more every day.
Correct.
But it does not remove people from the equation. Bedside manner in that scenario is still bedside manner, and that's human.
Yeah, absolutely. And the AI, it's in some respects, it's not really AI. AI is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What it is if this happens, do this. And that's not artificial intelligence. It can't think for itself. So you use operations, and there's a lot of operations and different things, particularly when it gets into, like eye surgery and really delicate things where you can use, AI and robots and stuff like that for that really delicate stuff, but it's still a human driving the machine.
Yeah.
And so you can't just like go, oh, let's push a button and let that operation go and I'll go over here and have a coffee. It just doesn't work that way. And it's the same in business. You can't just push a button and hope that's going to go out. And it's quite interesting how many times you get a response these days. It's come from a bot. It's come from automation, because it's just absolutely not answered your question. There's just no way that a human being would have answered the question that way. Now, it's a response that sort of makes sense, but it doesn't. And so if we cannot get our head around it's a tool to leverage rather than a tool to replace, we are going to end up in strife, and businesses are going to start suffering, and it's going to start happening soon.
And I think that the underlying root cause to those places where we're going to start seeing those foibles, right, are in those spaces where people are trying to let the technology do everything. I will own, right, ChatGPT and I have a very close relationship. It helps me do lots of things because I am a person who, if I have to do marketing, writing, not my core competency, and a blank page of paper scares me and I will stare at it forever. ChatGPT can get me started, right? I can have a little dialogue back and forth, and all of a sudden, boom, my light bulb goes off and I'm off and running. It planted a seed. It helped give me an idea. I flesh it out, right? It's a tool that I'm using. And for those businesses that let the tool take over, we're going to start to see, I believe, a lack of credibility, a lack of authenticity, a lack of humanness. And that business will have a hard time making connections with their clients and their customers because they've put the machine in the middle of the relationship.
Absolutely. And it's still, like any technology, is only based upon the information you've given it. And we all know that ChatGPT and all the other AI tools that are out there are not working from 100% current live data. Just not. So while we think we've got some good stuff coming out, like the cutting edge stuff is still not really being thought of by these tools.
Right, because their knowledge set is 6 months old, 9 months old.
Absolutely. People don't say that. Now, for some businesses, a knowledge set that's six months old is better than the stuff that they're probably using that's 10 years old.
Sure.
All right. So that's not a good thing. It helps people think. But I love what you say there, Lisa, it is about stimulating your thought. It is about helping you to get that blank paper to start to have something on it that you can now master it. You can now wordsmith it so that it's Lisa's work, so that it's Lisa who is speaking to the people rather than just a bit of a machine, bit of machine learning.
So in all of this, with the disruption in the technology that is emerging and the pace of it, how does this play into your transformational leadership system? How are you bringing it all together to help your clients, those entrepreneurs and business owners?
So there's some really interesting things that are coming up. Now, some people have thought, what could be bigger and better than, or bigger or different than AI. There's a thing called Web 3.0. All right. Some people have heard of it. Some people don't. Let me just say, if you haven't heard of it, learn about it, because if you don't know what's coming, you're going to be left behind. Web 3.0, a lot of the new technological advances that we've got today, things like not Bitcoin, as in, yes, it's the cryptocurrency market, but the whole blockchain technology behind that is about creating a safer environment for us to communicate with across the world. Cybersecurity is massive. And so you've got to get ready for that. Like we're in Web 2.0 at the moment, and if you don't know what it is, don't panic. All right. Just when you're thinking about whatever technology you're going to use, just ask the question, has this piece of technology considered what blockchain technology is going to look like when 3.0 comes up? And if there's nothing about that, I would be suggesting you dig a little bit deeper and probably find something different. So there's just a little tip. So the idea of having your technology, all right, all in one place and everything like that, there's just so much cybersecurity issues. There's things around security that people are just not thinking about. They're thinking about putting in things like McAfee and all their different spam filters, and that is like nothing. It's just not cutting the mustard. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff like that that's really going to hurt people very, very soon. It's already hurting a lot of people now. And so once you get into this online space, and it doesn't really matter what style of business you are, you could be a hospitality, restaurant, et cetera, those businesses are going to have to compete in a marketplace where people are going to use this technology to attract their customers. And so you've got to leverage that and think about what is it you're going to use, all right, and what is it you're not going to use to make the most of it.
And I think one of the underlying points in there that you're making is we're in a place right now where we're really focused on our operational day-to-day, the world as it is, and we really need to be future thinking. We need to be looking, we need to be looking beyond.
Yeah, and it's going at such a fast pace. You can no longer, if you're looking for business coaches or people like that, you need to find somebody such as yourself, somebody who understands that it's not just about how do you put a marketing plan together and how do you set goals and strategy. It's about what is the technology that's going to take you there. If technology is not part of the coaching process, I'm not saying those coaches are bad. They got their place, but they've got to have some sort of complementary part that will help you with your technology part. And if you don't, all right, again, as I said, it's dangerous territory. The disruption is that if you either join the party or you leave the party. Okay. And I don't like that. I really don't like that the world is dictating how we do business in some respects, but it is a reality.
It absolutely is. And, technology is woven into every aspect of business. We are so accustomed to it that we forget just how intricate it is and how we interact with the device that we hold in our hand, the thing, that we're looking at and we work on day to day, right? Technology drives every form of our communication and underlies most of our interaction that isn't truly face-to-face in person. There is a piece of technology enabling it somehow, whether it's in our sales cycle, if it's our CRM, if it's the web, the video tools that we're using to communicate around the world. We have bits and pieces of technology that we take for granted and don't even think about the fact that we've invested in those for our business. And we need to know what we're going to do next.
Yes. I think if I was just to take that, just go off a little tangent, but I think it's a really relevant tangent. Technology has advanced so much that all the new applications have come out, and there's some really good ones. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some really good pieces of technology out there. However, they sort of stand alone. They do their thing, and then you've got to then get something. There's other applications around, like things like the Zapier, Pabbly, and Integromat, where you've got to get information out of this particular application. You've got to suck it out of here, and you've got to put it over here, or you've got to get it up on a spreadsheet and cut and paste and stuff like that. That was very popular years ago. it's becoming less and less popular now. When you're picking your technology, you need to be looking for applications that are good, that will do the job, that are what's called native. In other words, within the one application, you might have 10 or 15 different things that you do on a regular basis, but you've got one application that does those 10 things or 15 things because they're fully integrated. They don't sit separately. They all think together. No longer can we actually think of, oh, I'll get the best thing for that and I'll get the best thing for that, and I'll use Zapier to bolt it all together with a bit of chewing gum. That doesn't work anymore.
Well,
It breaks.
because it does, it absolutely breaks, because that bubble gum and baling wire, right, is not native, and it's kludgy and clunky, and it's fallible.
Yes.
And so then you've created technology and data silos, which slow down your business and impede your progress. So it is really important to think through how we do those things. And from a small business to, from that startup land to going to an emerging market to an enterprise, right? The scale of those decisions changes. The dollars associated with those changes is, each level gets more and more expensive as we're growing and we're scaling. But as we make good decisions, we can minimize and mitigate the upgrade costs along the way as we get away from having multiple disparate systems with a middleware that's connecting them or APIs that are connecting them. And
exactly right. And so you got the technology piece.
Yep.
But then if you've got a team, all right, now you've got you're not just got one person or two people that got to learn 10, 15 different applications. Now you've got 10 people that got to learn 10 different applications. So your productivity is spent in learning systems rather than doing work. And so if you don't have the right set of technology to start with, you are going to amplify the pain the bigger you grow. And that is something that not many people are talking about. They go, oh, geez, I'll get my, there's a good one is Calendly. Calendly does really good for managing calendars. Great product. But if it's the only application you need, go for it. But typically you need a calendar, you need a CRM, you need 3 or 4 other bits. So get a CRM that's got a calendar in it, that's got your social media management in it, got that bits and pieces in it, so you can give one login to your team and everything just works.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
people get it. Yeah, it just works. So yeah.
And that idea of it just works is so important. But we were also talking through all of that, right? So you have one person doing something, and when you get to now we have 10 people doing the same something. We get back to that. We need the processes to be clean before we leverage the technology. Otherwise, sorry, that's my catchphrase on using technology. We can take bad process and give it technology, and we get super fast bad.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
We want to avoid that, right? So we want to know what we're doing, how we're doing it. And then technology gives us that lift so that as we go from 1 to 10, as we go from 10 to 100, that curve is eased because we know what we do, we know how we do it, and how the technology helps us do more of it faster. Yes. And can scale those people to get their work done.
Absolutely. And as I said, I'm a tech buff. Like, give me a tech tool and let me pull it apart and have some fun with it. But the reality is, in my business, now it's 7 global companies across 3 different continents, servicing 13 different countries with clients. I have 5 pieces of technology, 5 logins, 5. I would hesitate to see anybody that's got 5 logins that they use. All right, and I run the whole business, multi-million-dollar global businesses with 5 applications.
So I'm gonna play with that 5 because I want you to make this point for everybody that's listening. Things that we log into every day: LinkedIn.
Yep.
Depending on your business, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, right? If you have a strong social media presence, getting to 5 logins on a daily basis is not hard to do.
That's right. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. So my 5 logins, all of those social medias you just talk about, all right, they're connected. I've got the application, but it's one login, and I can push one button and post and get all my ad responses with literally the push of one button. And I can post out simultaneously, schedule, et cetera, So one application, done. And that just multiplies. You keep on going through that. You go, where a lot of people go, I'll go over to LinkedIn, I'll put my post over there. I'll go over to Facebook and I'll log in there and I'll put my post in there. And I'll go over to Instagram and I'll go and put my post in there. Like, gee whiz. 5 logins, done. One of those is Google. I'm a Google user. Doesn't matter if you're Google or Microsoft. You've got to choose one of them, Google, Microsoft, or Apple. Choose one of those. That's going to be one for everybody. All right. So that's the first one. Some sort of social media connection point. There's 2. All right. Your calendar management side of things. All right. Is one. Your website. Being able to get into your website. And then your CRM. And so you can go, oh, gee whiz, there's 5 I've had. Well, hang on a second. I do all that on one login. Do all that. And it's easy. It's all in one spot. I don't have to go looking for stuff, which is, again, where productivity falls down because you're all the time looking for stuff.
Oh, countless, right there. And heaven forbid that one thing that one application you use occasionally. And then it's like, okay, you might have your single sign-on working for it, but if you don't, you have to dig up your credentials and your password and you go, oh my God, I forgot all about it. And there went 20 minutes of your life that you'll never get back.
And probably one of the best ones I ever did was one called LastPass. Some people might know it, LastPass. LastPass is an application and it actually holds all your passwords. Okay, so it's one password, but if I have all the other bits and pieces all connected to there, and it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah. So designing your tech stack with productivity in mind, right, is part of that equation and how you're building out for the future from where you are today with your business. And as you want that to grow, the needs of the business become more complicated.
Correct.
Which means that the design for getting there, we need to make sure that it's simplified.
Absolutely.
I think is what I'm hearing you say.
200%. And the thing is with it, people design things by their current budget and their current need rather than thinking of what it's going to be. And they hurt themselves. Like, I don't know, like I only last week, I sat down with a client and he talked to me about all these applications he was using. He started off on the free version, because he couldn't afford anything, and then over a period of time, he's got to the paid version and now he's paying all these different applications and he feels stuck that he can't do it and it's costing him a fortune. So, like with just a little bit of planning, which is one of the things I do as a free service, it's just like, talk to me. Like, how can I help you? Just don't get into the rat race of technology. What are the 3, 4, 5 parts that your business will operate on, and it'll make it go, and scale? Like my business, like 350,000 contacts that I can email out. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's insane how much 1 or 2 pieces of technology can take away all that pain. And my tech bill is less than $500 a month.
I'm just letting that silence sit there for a minute because his technology bill is less than $500 a month. Listeners and viewers, we all have a lot we can learn from Kel. That's absolutely, that number is mind-blowing to me because I know I'm spending more than that right now and I don't have the sophistication of what you're doing and how you're doing it. As we've talked through things today, we've talked about the future and in needing to be well-versed in the idea of what Web3 is. What are some of the opportunities that you see for business owners on the horizon that are things to look forward to that will help, influence how we grow our businesses?
Yeah. So I think the number one thing, we've got to stop thinking of ourselves in silos and that we're all in competition with one another. It's if like in this new era and with the world market, there is plenty of business. And if you can partner, if you can actually create true partnerships, joint ventures, yes, but I call true partnerships where you've got a particular deliverable, I've got a deliverable, there's the same client, all right, but we've got 2 different deliverables, And even if some of those cross over, that's okay. All right. And we can work together to work out what that is, which is the best thing for the client. And if we stop going, because I don't want to lose any business by partnering with this person, our mindset is, quite frankly, crap. All right. Where we're going into the future is if we don't collaborate, we will collapse. That's my real strong opinion. So I've built some amazing collaborations of people who, in some respects, I would normally, and a lot of people would see as my competition. But they're not, because we actually have that conversation up front. Now, if they don't want to align with that, we don't partner. That's okay. Some people will, some people won't. But partnering, there's strength in numbers. You don't have to dominate. And so if you've got a particular niche, you're working in the hospitality, or you're working in the fitness industry, or whatever it might be, you can have exactly the same products, exactly the same systems, et cetera, and just go down two different pathways and joint do things. That's where I strongly believe. It's no longer about niching yourself and sitting in a silo. All right. And putting yourself out there as being the guru, the best in the business. It's about, this is a collaboration. This is a group of people, all with their skills, and we're coming to you with a group of skills that's best for you. That's my gut feel.
Huge. It's huge. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. 14 years ago, when I started down my path in my entrepreneurial journey, everybody at that point in time asked me why I would make a choice to go into competition with everybody that I knew.
Yep.
And I just didn't understand that question. It didn't make any sense to me. And we're finally, 14, 15 years later, people get it, right? That there's strength in numbers. There is exponential impact when we bring in complementary groups, right? And what you do and what I do together for that client is greater than what either one of us would do individually in our teams. But we also, right, we can solve bigger problems.
Yes.
Exactly. And that drives the strategic objectives of our clients. And hopefully, right, from my perspective, we're solving their customers' needs. We're solving for that, because that's the real impact.
Exactly right. And I think there's been, that the era of the guru, I think, is starting. There's the disruption. I think that's another one that's coming through. And we're hearing it. You're hearing it. Oh, the guru. They don't know anything. Like, I was listening to one just the other night. This big guru was talking about some stuff, and I'm going, seriously, that just makes no sense. No sense. And he was, I'm not going to say his name, but I dare to, because he's a very, very, he wasn't a very intelligent man. I respected him a lot until I heard he'd come out with this garbage. And he's just out there going, making false claims to promote his own thing. And once you start hearing that, run a mile. Just run a mile. You're a lot better with people down to earth. People like Lisa who are down to earth, who will tell it to you straight, and will collaborate with if she doesn't know the answer, we'll find the answer and work with somebody to get the answer for you. That's the people we want to work with. That's the people I work with. That's I've got a couple of different coaches that I use to coach me. That's how we work. We have coaching meetings, where they're all, throwing their ideas around. I just sit there going, okay, what am I going to do next? That's quite an interesting event, but it is the day of the guru and one person knowing everything is gone. And you really just need to be a bit smarter these days.
There was a company that I did business with more than 20 years ago. They were a New Zealand-based company. And at the time, I found it very funny. Their slogan, their motto was, "We sell gray hairs and scar tissue." At the time, I thought that was really sort of just, flippant. But now that I may have more gray hairs and scar tissue than I did 20 years ago, it resonates for me, right? And I have caught myself using that phrase when I'm talking about the fact that there's nothing that can really replace experience. And Kel, you have spent a tremendous amount of time today sharing with us your knowledge, your experience. and the look and the view that you have for businesses going into the future, and the power of what Web3 is going to mean for us, and the need to plan on purpose our technology. It isn't an afterthought. It isn't a whoops, we need to solve for it and figure it out right now. It requires planning, because that planning requires money, right? That implementation will require money and budget. And if we do it in a reactionary mode, we will get stuck, quite honestly, with bad tech and bad decisions because they were reactionary.
Exactly right. And once you're stuck, whoa, how hard is it to get out of it? Like I've actually helped a couple of people just recently move CRMs from what they were on. It nothing wrong with the system, but it was starting. It went from, they started it free, and all of a sudden they needed a little bit more, and went to $600 a month in one jump. And they went, ooh. And then it went from $600 to $1,500 US a month. And then it went to $2,500 a month, and it was going to keep going. And they're going, okay, it was okay when it was free, but with not having the planning, they didn't look at what it was going to cost in the future. So they put all this work and effort into building something that was free. The cost in the end was phenomenal. All right. But they moved over to a product that cost them $200 a month. All right. And done everything that the other product did and more. All they had to do is a bit of research at the start. They probably could have afforded $200 to start with. All right. And they wouldn't have had to make the move. So they're the sorts of things that people are getting stuck with. And again, I say technology is one part. Now you've got team. Now you've got to actually go to your whole team. Hey, by the way, we've stopped using this piece of technology. Everybody's got to learn this one. And so the whole company basically goes into shutdown while everybody's trying to learn the new piece of technology. Otherwise, they go broke because they can't afford to actually continue on to pay that piece of technology. It's just this snowball effect. And I see it time and time and time again. And it's really sad. It's really sad. But that's clever marketing from some of these application companies.
Oh, absolutely. And they will make it all sound like they solve all the world's problems and every business problem you've ever encountered. And for, $19.99, stop, think it through, put a plan in place, and really understand where you are and what you need today. Yeah. But what are you going to need 18 months from now?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Kel, thank you so much for sharing with us today, with the audience, the focus and the need to really be aware of Web3, what it's going to do for your business is probably the most important tech question that we can be asking, because it is coming, it is on the horizon, and it will be disruptive and transformational and drive innovation, but we have to understand it before we can leverage it. And thank you for giving us that introduction today. For everybody listening, whether you're watching us or listening to us, all my rules. Don't get left behind. Join me next time.
That's it for today's episode of Disrupt and Innovate. Head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Every single week, one lucky listener that posts a review on iTunes will win the grand prize drawing, a $15,000 private VIP day with Lisa Levy. And be sure to head over to disruptandinnovate.com and get your free copy of Lisa's gift. And join us on our next episode.